Howdy, babes. How are you guys doing tonight? Hi, Dave. Thank you
Hi.
for being here. How are you guys? I'm exhausted, ready for Halloween. Are you guys ready for Halloween? Do you like Halloween actually? I love Halloween. Who do we have? Adrian, thank you for being here. Angie, Camilla, Christine, Craftastic, Georgie, Good Night Owl, Daisy, Ines, Jock Girl, Jody, Kat, Catherine C. Oh, Catherine C is ill. So at this point, get well soon, my darling. KH, welcome. Leslie, Miss Incognito. Ooh, Missy Cat. Ophia, Penny, Rebecca, Rita. Rita, you're from Germany, right? Rose, Sharon, Shelby, Tanya, Tia, Tumbleweed, and everybody else who I forgot. So, Dave's having trouble staying in. Do you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Good.
Technology.
Technology. So,
Yeah.
Dave recently got a new phone, the iPhone 14, and he thought he can make me a little bit jealous. But I'm not falling out of my own live stream, but you do with the newest phone. So, I'm
Yes. And it seems to
not
be
so
the
much jealous
only
anymore.
model that's doing it too. The Pro Max.
Yeah.
So hopefully it gets fixed Monday.
Yeah, I hope so too. All right, we're gonna get right into this. Today it's gonna be a little, in preparation for the documentary. I'll be doing a lot of going through old stuff, comparing my old documentary Into the Abyss a little bit with what we know now or today. It's been a year, and what you guys gonna see basically in the near future is a remastered Into the Abyss documentary with the things we do know now. All right. Today is a little bit a mix of everything I found. And I have help from Dave because he wanted to give his 5 cents, especially when we're talking and getting into NA a little bit more than usual. And there he is off again. So I'm waiting for another minute before I share my screen because you guys know. Oh, here he is. You guys know I can't see chat or anything. um, Thank you. Yeah, I cut my hair. It's a little bit too short for my liking, but yeah, whatever. My hair grows like crazy, anyways. Okay, let's get right into this because I don't want to steal your valuable time. And I think you guys got to prepare for Halloween as well, right? I do too. So let's get into it. We're talking about the morning of, making this a little bit bigger. The morning of, who was actually in the house? Who is telling the truth in this case? Is there even anyone telling the truth in this case? The ransacked office, contradicting statements, and then you will see that Chris actually, puts a lot on himself, hidden evidence, and mysterious phone calls. So let's start this. In the beginning, I prepared a little Monday morning timeline regarding the alerts. So we know at 1:48 a.m., Shannan comes home. At the same time, her Vivint locks the front door, opening, of course, because she's going in. Same time, the motion sensor on the main floor, that's the motion sensor, the little one in the corner in the living room or sitting room, what they have, detects her movement. Obviously, she's walking in. At 1:51, according to her phone data, the phone shuts off. From 2 a.m. to 4:23 a.m., there was absolutely zero movement on the main floor. I'm assuming, according to the data provided that CW was in the basement all the time or not at home. People think, he went upstairs or got into bed with her, as he stated, but we all know that's a lie, right? I also don't believe that he slept upstairs waiting for her to come in, simply because she gives it away. Shannan herself gives that away, that he is, he actually hugged me and kissed me, or what she said, before going to sleep in the basement. So the night before she left to Arizona, she states to Kathy and her girls, this was the best talk ever so far, and he even hugged me or kissed me before going to sleep in the basement. So therefore, I don't believe that he ever slept upstairs when she came home. I believe that he was in the basement all the time. I believe that Shannan went down in the basement. Everything occurred in the basement, and they put her out through the window or whatnot. And this is why we see or hear 423, the basement door opens. There was no motion sensor detected when he should have come down the stairs, right? And motion would have picked up when he was walking down the stairs, but that wasn't the case. So according to the agents who interviewed him in Wisconsin, they said the basement, motion sensor, and garage door. So in that order, if we can believe that. So at 5:46, he left for work. At 6:16, Mrs. pings and is seen by witnesses in Frederick. And yes, that is true. We have Dave and I, we have witnesses who actually saw her truck at 9:10 a.m. And we're going to get into this next, the garage door alert. Then at 12:10 p.m. Sorry, not a.m., p.m. Gonna change that right away for the Karens out there. There's a doorbell alert. Chris actually tells us about the doorbell alert because he sees NA on his camera. 12:17, he receives another alert from Vivint, and at 12:42, the garage door alert occurs. So, my lovely people, who is knackered? Me. Having a slight delay again on, I know I say that every time I have a slight delay on StreamYard, and I still was too lazy to get me a different provider, so I'm sorry. Okay, the 9 a.m. welfare check call. And I have to give credit to Dave G for sending me the documents, because I don't know if they're even in the Discovery anymore, or were they taken out, Dave? I have no clue.
Yeah, I can't find them in the new Discovery now. They've been, well, it doesn't fit their narrative, so it's gone.
Right. So Dave sent me this. That's from, let's say, the old Discovery, because I have not checked, or I didn't find it in the Discovery, in the newest one. Like, they keep editing, they keep redacting, and so on. So this is from Coran Patricia. And the date is the 29th of August. And as we know in the Discovery, the date that states above is not necessarily the date this report came in. So it could have been that she drafted it on the 29th, but made her notes and stuff way earlier. So on Monday, August the 13th, 2018, at approximately 9 a.m., I took a call from a person identifying herself as Nicole Atkinson, requesting a well-being check of a friend. I transferred the call to Weld County Communications. Tuesday, August the 14th, and Wednesday, August the 15th, I took calls between the hours of 8 and 5 p.m. transferring the calls to Detective Dave Baumhofer, Sergeant Bob Betzel, and Sergeant Ian Albert. Any notes regarding these calls were saved for this case and attached to this report. So, obviously, and of course, we do not have Miss Patricia's notes, right? We should request them. But anyway, so this lady is reporting a 9 a.m. phone call from a lady named Nicole Atkinson. Let's go further. This is from Chris's interview. Is that right, Dave?
Yes.
Yes. So I'm just going to read down here. Monday, August the 13th, phone. I asked CW if he thought that SW left out the garage at 9:10 that morning. He suggested that she either left out the garage door or the back door because there is no footage of her leaving from his front door camera. I asked CW if there were any signs of forced entry, and he told me no. So, there was an alert at 9:10 a.m. in the morning, as we know, right? And if I have no clue why he would say, or she left through the back door, because he would have known if she left through the back door or if anyone left through the back door, because that door is has a sensor.
That and
Right?
it's a passage door. She can't lock it when she leaves.
It's one of these panic doors.
It's a patio door.
Oh, patio door. Okay.
Yeah, on that one there, you can only lock it from the inside. You can't lock it from the outside.
Yeah. So he tells the agent or detective or whoever he's talking to that his home alarm system notified him that at 9:10 its garage door opened, but that he never received a notification on his phone that it closed again. Right? So when his garage door opens, he had to disarm the alarm. But he never said anything about this, right? So in order to disarm, to get notifications, all that, it gets it beeps or whatever it does. It makes a sound, and he can remotely disarm the alarm. He did that when Nick, NA's son, tried to get through the garage into the house. And he basically remote disarmed the alert right then and there.
See, one thing with that too, that 9 o'clock, if somebody's inside the house, they could actually shut off the alarm too. So what it will do, it was send an alert showing that the door had opened, like the sensor.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. But when he came home, everything was shut as normal.
Right.
All right. So the agent knows about the 9:10 alert. Yeah. So now let's see what they do to Miss Patricia. So Baumhofer himself on the 13th of November states, the following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The time of this report is not indicative of when the investigations occurred. Upon reviewing the report generated by police clerk Patricia Pat on the 29th of August, I noted she documented Nicole Atkinson called the Frederick Police Department directly and spoke with Pat about a well-being check of Shannan. Pat's report indicated Nicole call came in around 9 hours, so 9 a.m. on August the 13th. Upon reviewing other reports, specifically the report documenting Nicole's interview and also the CAD dispatch notes, I found Pat's reported time of 9 a.m. inconsistent with other reported times of approximately 1:30. Where are the notes, detective? I asked Pat about the details of her conversation with Nicole. She said it was shortly after arriving for work at 8 when she received the call from Nicole requesting the welfare check, and that she, Nicole, stated she was in front of her friend's house, Shannan's house, because she was unable to contact her. Pat said at that point she transferred Nicole directly to the Weld County Dispatch Center to generate a call for service. CAD notes indicate this occurred at 1:36 on August the 13th. So, we all know that NA married or was recently married or got married shortly after all this happened. And we also know that in all the statements and in all the interviews, Nicole never gives the name Atkinson. Never. So if this occurred later than that date, how would Patricia know that Nicole's name was Atkinson if she did not call her? Is that right, Dave?
That's right. That and another thing is that she did call 911 to start off with. So they record all 911 or 911 messages, but where's the logs and everything? Because that'd be the first thing that they check on. And by the looks and sounds of things, they didn't. They're passing it off as if she didn't call at all.
Right. So the only call we have is that actual welfare check call. But she's referring to everyone as Nicole Utoft,
Utah, yes.
right? And not to Nicole Atkinson. So I don't know. I do believe that this call came in earlier because it makes total sense.
Well, absolutely. Because if you think about it one way, here she is calling for a welfare check, at 9 o'clock, but nobody shows up. So
Right.
when she's forced to call the police the next time, she says that this is where the low blood sugar and she might have passed out. So
Right.
she had to actually make a better excuse so that somebody would show this time because they didn't the first time.
Right. And I don't think that Patricia mixed that up at all because these people working for the dispatch, they are pretty accurate.
Right.
Why would she mix that up? Like
She
for
wouldn't.
hours and hours. Makes no
That's
sense.
right. No, it just doesn't fit their alternative, and they're protecting their butt because they didn't show up. But with Nicole Atkinson or Utah, she was married when Shannan was in North Carolina. And like, you know how good of friends they are. That's why Shannan never even went to her wedding. Neither did Chris, and he was still there. So she's actually married in July.
Yeah. Goodnight Owl says something significant. In the 911 call or the welfare check call, NA doesn't even say who she is. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, how the hell would the dispatcher know who she was if she hasn't talked with Patricia in the first place?
That's right.
Red flag. Yeah.
Well, there's actually a bigger red flag with that too, because now this isn't in like this is what they call a redacted statement. So I couldn't find it in the last what do you want to call it discovery that's out there right now. But
Mm-hmm.
go back to Nicole and Dwayne when they're getting interviewed there. Dwayne brought up, what about that 9 a.m. alert? And right away, Nicole said, well, we'll get to that later, but nobody ever did talk about it. So, how in the heck would he know about a 9 a.m. alert?
Exactly. And it makes sense. It makes total sense because the 9 a.m. call to police And then
Mhm.
9:10 a.m., Chris receives that garage door alert.
That's right.
And that's evidently there because I don't know who interviewed him here. I guess it was, what's his face? I'm distracted.
Who, Kumrad?
No, not Coonrod. Who? Agent? What was his name? Oh my God! I can't remember this guy's name. Who interviewed him? Agent? Not Kovac, the other one?
I'm drawing a blank here. I'm not sure who you're talking about.
The agent who interviewed Chris from the FBI. He's like besties with Tammy Lee
Oh,
now, and
yes, yes.
they
Coder.
Coder. There you go. I can't believe I forgot his name.
Oh,
Uh,
there. Tony says Coder too. Oh, and Rebecca. Cool.
yeah, thank you guys. Yeah. It makes total sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
And also, I'm not going to read through all of this now, you guys, but I just wanted to show you. This is the phone call Mrs. Rusek placed to the school at 8 a.m., between 8 and 8:30. So if there was an alert at 9:10, NA calling the school, calling police at 9 a.m., then it makes sense that Mrs. Rusek calls the school at 8:30, right? So I just leave that up here and you guys can go back after and read all this. I'm just going to read the part where it says she called at 8. So Lang is some sort of supervisor in the school. Lang then brought Carrie Wood, the director of the school. Wood said Shannan's mother called between 8 and 8:30 to ask if the girls were in school. Wood said that Alba Orantes, the assistant director, then spoke with Shannan's mother midday. Wood asked Orantes what time it was they spoke, and Orantes called around 11:30. Again, asking if the girls were dropped off. Wood said that she then spoke with Shannan's mother around 3, again asking if the girls had been dropped off at the school. Wood advised her they hadn't been, and the girl's grandmother told Wood that they were missing. So at 3 p.m., she calls the school and tells Wood that they were missing. Then she calls her again at 11:30, before 3 o'clock. 11:30 calls if the girls were dropped off, and at 8, between 8 and 8:30. And it makes absolutely zero sense because I'm going to show you.
Well, one thing with that too, even though that, what is it? I think it's about a 2 hour delay too. Our time difference, I should say, between Colorado and North Carolina. So
Right,
no matter what, she wouldn't have been notified that anybody was missing between 8 and 8:30 in the morning.
right. That was like they are 2 hours ahead or something.
Yeah,
Right, but the discovery goes according to Colorado time at that
right.
time.
That's right.
So it still was 8 a.m. in Colorado and not 10.
Right. That's right.
So here, look at this. So she called at 11. That makes sense because at 10:28, she calls Chris or sends him a message asking, is Shannan okay? Then he calls her and she doesn't pick up. And then she immediately calls him back and held a 1-minute conversation, which for me, a 1-minute conversation when your daughter is missing and your wife is missing is very short. Then after that, he immediately searching for hotels in Aspen, blah, blah, blah. Then at 10:44, she still doesn't know anything about nothing. She calls him again. And then he searches for Groupon. And then at 10:51, he calls her and they speak for another minute and 12 seconds. Very short phone calls, right? In my opinion. So, anyways, this is a screenshot from an ACE interview. I'm not going to read all that. I'm just reading her answer here. She says, yeah, I was talking to Chris for 17 seconds. Why 17 seconds? That makes no sense. Why all these little mini phone calls? You cannot even explain yourself in 17 seconds. So she's saying, and she admits it's a short 17-second phone call. And sure, it's short. So she says, yeah, so then Chris gets there and the police officer was like, do you know where your wife is? And he's like, no. He's like, well, can you open your door so we can go inside? And oh, he wasn't there yet. And then I called her mom, because I thought because her mom had lived there too. So I called Cassie because Cassie stayed with her. And then her mom stayed with her. So I was trying to get anybody to give us a code for the garage because that was the only way to get in. So I let Chris go and then I called her mom and her mom didn't know what was going on. And that was 1:30 p.m. And her mom did not know what was going on. This comes directly from NA. So how the hell would Mrs. Rusek know before 1:30 that her daughter was missing? And calling the school in the morning when not even Cassie knew anything about nothing yet. So I let Chris go, blah, blah, blah. And her mom didn't know what was going on. And I was like, Sandy, do you have a code to Shannan and Chris' garage door? And she was like, she started giving me numbers, but none of them worked. And then I, of course, had to tell her what was going on. And I didn't call her before that because I didn't want to upset her if there was nothing to upset her about. And then Chris showed up and let us in.
Dawn's backstage.
Oh, all right. Hi, Dawn.
Hi, sorry for delay.
No problem. So, what do you guys think about this? So she didn't call her. And after that part of the interview, she says, and then she calls police anyway. Dawn, can you mute yourself, please? I hear myself talking. Thank you.
Sounds like he's underwater.
Yeah, it's always the audio problem. So what do you guys think? It makes absolutely zero sense. It makes no sense to me whatsoever.
It does to me, but I usually get hate about it. So
Nope. We're done with walking on eggshells, you guys. Done. As long as you're polite and respectful, I have no problem with you stating your opinion, and that goes for everyone. So shoot Dave G.
well, yeah, shoot Dave G again, yeah. But no, I don't know. I'm probably going on about 2.5 years now. I'm convinced, and this is my opinion because of all the facts that you just heard, is that Nicole Atkinson actually went through that front door because, for starters, she had the passcode to get into the door. She actually has the alarm code to shut off the alarm. And to me, I honestly do think that she went through that front door between 8 and 8:30, saw that nobody was in the house, saw the cell phone, saw the purse, and called Sandy right away. Because Sandy would not have known that nobody was inside that house unless NA called her first. Because there'd be no reason for her to call school.
Exactly. So she was dog sitting the week prior, and she tells us she has no codes.
That's right.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And what's significant to me is these 8 a.m. calls and the text messages to Chris.
Mm-hmm. And that's one thing too. In the best interest of the public, Rourke is not going to ask, of course, any of NA's or Sandy's cell phone data to see what messages were done or whatever. It's
Well,
not going to happen
according to Frank, she deleted one phone call.
that we know of. Yes,
Yeah, why? And you
that's
know
the whole
what?
thing.
I just want a simple explanation. I'm the type of guy or woman that goes with the most simplest explanations always, but I cannot make any sense out of this.
hmm It
So
actually
I
makes
do
a lot of
believe,
sense if you sit down and think about it, or get a whiteboard, because if you could have that 9 o'clock or 9:10 alert for the garage door, that would put NA putting the latch on the front door and going out the garage door. And one of the
oh,
biggest things that Rourke said that more or less nailed the case closed is because that latch was on the front door and nobody could get in or out unless
mm-hmm,
they had a garage door opener. And
exactly.
that's what his big thing was.
Yeah. So I can tell you guys, I was talking to Ronnie, and I asked him if he please can ask Chris, did you put the latch down when you left in the morning? And Chris said he left it open for Shannan to get in. So he did not put the latch down when he left in the morning. So either she must have done it coming in, or somebody else did. So he definitely did not put the latch down.
So if you go with her between 8 and 8:30 coming inside that front door, and then you
Makes
have
sense.
Nicholas, her son, finding Shanann's phone under 3 minutes of being inside, inside the house and
Yeah.
inside a sofa, of course, right? And then you fast forward again to when everybody goes over to Nosy Nate's house to look at this video, and then as soon as she comes back, poof, there is Nicholas again, um, scurrying inside the kitchen with Shanann's purse, puts it on the counter, and then takes off out of there right away.
Yeah.
So that
We're
makes,
getting to that.
yeah, it makes a lot of sense that she was inside that house, period.
Yeah, I do believe so too. I was skeptical because I was thinking, maybe not, and her 360 and all that stuff. But, I do believe her 360, and we're getting to that, is a mix up between hers and her son's.
That's right, yeah. Because with her, she downloaded the 360 on her phone to
No,
see
she
her.
didn't download. She took screenshots of her 360.
But no,
That's
no, no.
that's
Like
the
she's
thing.
got the program on her phone as well as his on Nicholas, so she
Oh,
can
yeah.
keep tabs
Mm-hmm.
on where he is with her car.
Yeah.
And like he's not supposed to be driving around, especially after midnight, because he's got a learner's license. But if
Yeah.
you remember one of the screenshots they showed us of the 360, that she was doing 200 miles an hour, that's because she signed on to see where Nicholas was with the car.
Right.
Okay, so that's the only time that will show is when she signs on. So to me, when she was over there the first time between 8 and 8:30, she wasn't signed on. But when she left there, she went home and picked up Nicholas and came back. Okay,
Yes, didn't
and
she? Yeah, because she had Madison with her then.
that's right. And if you go back before that too, she actually said in her interview that what the heck was it, that she had fallen asleep and woke up at 11:30. So this is all of it's a lie, the whole from start to finish on her
Yeah.
part.
Especially the first text message she sends to Shannan was actually at around 8.
But are them staged messages? Because some people are saying that they're staged because there was 3 or 4 in a row that showed up all in the afternoon, as if she would have sent them in the afternoon. Because regardless if her phone's on or off, they would be still showing what time that they received them.
Yeah. Yes. No, Finn, you hit the nail on the head. Everyone lied. And you know what, guys? I don't even care if they lie. I just want to know why they lie. If she, let's, say she was in the house in the morning. Why wouldn't she say, listen, guys, I was in the house in the morning. I broke in because I was worried about my friend. Then I called her mom and her mom ran errands. Why making a big misery and a big secret out of this? Why? It
See,
makes
that's going to
no
come up
sense.
too, because when you actually, I'll just let you keep on reading because it will come up too about her not wanting to come to the police station. So
Yeah, Sandy, we're getting to that. And I
yeah.
asking if she was arrested. Yeah, it just makes no sense. If she was in the house in the morning, everything would make sense. The
Mm-hmm.
phone call to school would make sense. The 9 a.m. welfare check would make sense. Everything would make sense. Her Mrs. Rusek texting Chris and calling Chris back and forth would make sense.
And her
But with
knowing that
that
the car
statement,
seats were inside
nothing
that
makes
car.
sense. Sorry?
Her knowing the car seats were inside the car. Because
Bullshit.
I know that car had limousine black tint windows. You can't see it. And if she was to back up like she said she did in the driveway so Nicholas could stand on the trunk of the car to look inside the windows, well, Nate would have had that on video too, but we never saw or heard anything about that.
Exactly. We would have that. First of all, Nate would have that. Nate has everything from here to the moon.
Yeah.
And yeah, but he never said that. See, he
Nope.
never said anything about it.
And it makes more sense too, because if her being there earlier, because remember when Coonrad's up on the deck checking the patio door, and Nosy Nate's over there asking what's going on, and then Nate goes, well, she's diabetic.
Yeah.
Well, how in the heck would he know that? Because
He
they never
doesn't know
talk.
nothing.
No,
He didn't even know their names.
that's right. So that there would be in line with NA talking to Nate.
Exactly.
So
And then he says, oh, he never backs up his truck. Never. Well,
that's
he
right.
doesn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other hand, they're saying, oh, he backs up his truck every Friday to unload his truck, and then every Monday he backs up because
Mm-hmm.
he's got to put his tools back in because
Yeah.
of the burglar. Oh, I can't even talk anymore. Because of breaking in trucks and stuff in the area,
That's right.
right? So no. So
There's Sweet Crazy there too, talking about that statement that Nate made that they were always yelling. Well, the only yelling that took place was, and he had to retract that too, because the yelling he heard was Nicole and Chris that were yelling the day that he had to talk her off the ledge.
right.
So he had to retract that because Shannan wasn't there. So
But he said in the very first start, I believe that's in a book. I can't remember the author of the book, but he was talking with him, and he said sometimes they were arguing so bad that he sometimes could hear them arguing in their bedroom.
yeah, it's totally impossible because the
But we
bedroom's
don't
on the
know when that
uh,
was. So, anyways, you guys, it would make sense if she was in the house in the morning. The phone calls would make sense, everything would make sense. But if that was my best friend, I would kick that door in no matter what this guy is saying to me. I wouldn't have waited for forever, especially not if I knew she was diabetic or pregnant or what was going on, you know? But that's just me. So I put the Live 360 anyway, so you guys can take your screenshots. I'm not going to go through everything. I'm just going to show you why I do believe that this is a mix-up between hers and her son's, is this one. Where is it? Here. At mom's work. We know that she worked there in Boulder, right? So she drove from home or from wherever she was to her work, arrived there at 6:02, and she stayed there up until the morning. You know, she was working as a nurse, night shift, probably. So she was staying there for 12 hours and 11 minutes. And this is something that why I don't know anything about the 360 app, to be honest with you guys, but why would it say at mom's work? That makes no sense. So, and that's why I do believe that this is a mix up of maybe hers and her son's. And here she states, oh, this is the top. Oh, police
Oh, they're
driving
coming
around.
to get you.
What?
They're coming to get you.
I have nothing to hide.
No, it's the people
And
with
a good
white trucks.
lawyer. I have a good lawyer. So Atkinson explained she was CNA, a certified nursing assistant, and worked at Mesa Vista Nursing Home in Boulder. This is what we see here, right? The nursing home in Boulder. What's going on here? Boulder stays there for 12 hours. So I do believe that to be true. Atkinson stated she would be working until 6 a.m., which is also true because she's leaving at 6:14 or something, or 6:17. And I could meet with her anytime during her shift. CBI agent Greg Sentner responded to Boulder to speak with Atkinson. Next, we requested Detective Baumhofer call Chris and ask him to respond to the Frederick Police Department for a follow-up interview. Now, this is also weird. They are checking her out. Yeah, she's Sentner is going to interview her, or was it Tammy Lee? I can't remember. Interview her at the nursing home at her work after she's having that outburst and screaming and yelling, why would she come in? Anyways, at the same time, they speaking to Chris, wanting him to come back to the Frederick Police Department for a follow-up interview. What did they expect to come out of Atkinson's interview? Is what I'm asking myself. This almost looks to me like a cross-examination kind of thing. You know, I'm going to talk to him while you're going to talk to her, and then we basically have them. This is what it sounds to me, in my opinion. So then the agent states, this is Tammy Lee. After reviewing the GPS data, this one, hers, I called Atkinson and asked her if she could come to the police department for an interview. Atkinson seemed bothered and advised she was getting ready to go to work. Atkinson then agreed to call her work and said she would drive to the Frederick Police Department to meet me. A few minutes later, I got a call from Atkinson, who was extremely angry and asked me repeatedly if she was going to be charged with a crime if she came to the police department. I explained to Atkinson that we learned new information and were just trying to find Shannan and her children. See, this is what I meant. They wanted her to come down to the police station. She agrees. She says she's calling the nursing home, you know what, her boss or whatever, or whoever she calls, and then she would be coming down. Meanwhile, they call Chris asking him to come down for a follow-up interview. Do you guys see what I mean?
Well, if you take that back some more, even they keep on saying she's a hero and all this other crap.
I don't think so.
Sorry, but Casey is the one that threatened her to call the police, or otherwise she's going to do it herself. And the only reason why she's asking her to do it because she was there. She lives in Colorado, and there's no reason. She's at the house. She could have called the police. So why is it she doesn't want to call the police? And if you go back, even with Dwayne saying, if you think about that, Betty said that gray truck was across the street until around noon, which means that NA's inside that house, and probably NK was at the same time, because that'd be the only way that NK would know that alarm or that she went out the garage door. And that's where the alert came from.
Exactly. And we're getting to this because they all seem to know each other.
That's right.
So what I'm trying to say is, have they talked?
I'd like to go to one of their Christmas parties.
Who?
Well, NA's, because you'd have the whole crew there. But you can, once you carry on, you can open up the banana peel to see where this is all going to. And it's stuff that's been sitting there. It's just stuff that people have overlooked.
Right. And, with her calling back a few minutes later, who was she calling to? And who advised her not to go down to the friggin' police station?
That's right.
She calls back, is angry, and asks if she's going to be charged with a crime. Who put that in her head?
Mm-hmm. Well, it was either
no, NA, don't go down. You're going to be charged. They're going to charge you with something, or you're going to be arrested. Why?
It'd either be her new husband or else Sandy. Because she talked to Sandy. Sandy and her were best friends. Not Shannan and NA.
And you guys, what I'm saying is only my personal opinion and how I
mine
see
too.
It's not like I would say that she was involved in any way, but there are definitely things that are very, very odd. Very odd.
Same thing with the front door camera too, because Rourke, on that one there, he says in the best interest of the public, we'll be not releasing any more doorbell footage.
Right.
So why is that? And it took 6 months to get what they gave.
What they send me back all the time when I request something is it's not in the public's interest. What I get. Anyways.
Guys, guys, please don't spill all the beans before I have a chance to talk to.
Oh, you're
We're bean spillers.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute.
All right. Then the mysterious I'm driving, do not disturb. And I'm not seeing chat right now, just so you know. Yeah, as you can see, it's all a mix up, but it does somehow tie in together. So on Monday, August the 13th, Amanda and Nick Thayer arrived back in Colorado from Kentucky at approximately 2:30 p.m. Amanda had a few messages from friends of Shannan. They were asking if Amanda heard from Shannan. Amanda texted Shannan at 2:57 p.m. Hey lady, we just got back. Let's chat about this weekend. Shannan asked Amanda if she can watch the girls while she is away with Chris and Aspen. Amanda received a familiar auto reply from Shannan that she used whenever she was driving. It says, "Safety first, I'm driving with do not disturb. While driving turned on. I'll see your message when I get where I'm going." The last part of the auto reply had some extra wording Amanda hadn't seen before, which stated, "I'm not receiving notifications. If this is urgent, reply urgent to send a notification through with your original message." Amanda sent one more message to Shannan asking when Shannan was getting back to Colorado, but never received a response. So, you guys know at that time, they already had her phone. At 2:57, this is approximately the time Baumhofer was already upstairs, looking through Shannan's phone. It couldn't have been her phone because the phone does not send out, I'm driving when you're not driving, when you're walking, right? So it has to be her watch. Now let's take a look at who was where at around 2:57 and who could have had Shannan's watch. Couldn't have been NA, except maybe Nick, because we don't know his whereabouts. We see him jumping around at the Watts house, but we don't really know where exactly he was. She was at the house all the time. So from 1:13 to 3:46, she was at the house. Couldn't have been NA. So we can cross that out. It could have been NK though, because at 2:57, she gets that alert, I'm driving, from Shannan. Amanda does. At 2:35, Mrs. takes her last phone call from the Anadarko office. And we know that when did she clock out? On the 13th? At 3, right? They said around 3 or something. By 3:32 p.m., she's in Brighton, near her home, calls Jimbo. So between 2:35 and 3:32, if she clocks out at around 3, she was driving. So it could have been her having Shannan's watch. Let's take a look at TM. Troy. This is a screenshot of his geotab. 2:57, and he starts his truck at 2:58 and 47 seconds. It could have been him as well, having Shannan's watch. NA is ruled out because she was evidently at the house. So that leaves us with NK or TM, who could have had the watch. Then I put something just so you guys know. We never saw any footage of NK actually punching in to work, punching out to work, walking across the parking lot of Anadarko whatsoever. They just kept quiet and said she never pinged. It's okay. She was on her way to work. Bullshit, right? Now look at this. Anadarko has approximately 400 cameras in service, of which and this is from the Discovery, you guys. You cannot make this shit up. Of which approximately 200 are located in the parking lot and immediately around Anadarko's Platteville office. Now, if there were 200 cameras out of the 400 cameras around the office and the company itself, the building, the whole building of Anadarko, they would have seen her walking along. They would have seen her truck. And they also would have seen friggin' Troy McCoy's truck parking there. Somebody told me they have staff parking lots. And we all know Troy McCoy started his trip at the Batcave, not at the office. He says he was there getting a burrito and all that stuff. You guys, all of this should be on camera. We never saw anything. Everything should be on camera. Her arriving, her leaving, him arriving, him leaving. Everything should be on camera. So therefore, I do believe one of them two had Shannan's watch. And her here, Mrs. I don't believe that she ever went to the Anadarko offices in the morning. What I do believe is she went there 6:16 a.m., called Jimbo, went into the house, did her stuff, then drove to Platteville and punched out. This is what I believe occurred. You know, you can say, oh, I forgot to punch in, or I couldn't find my, I don't know if they have a fab or how they, their rota stuff is working. But she could have said, oh, I forgot to punch in. No problem, right? When we forget to punch in at work, the next day there comes something out of the printer and it says, TJ didn't punch in. Then my boss asked me, why didn't you punch in? And I said, I forgot my card. We have like little cards. And then he says, okay, that's fine. When did you arrive? And I tell him, whatever, 6 a.m. And then he just corrects it in the computer system. So that's no problem. Nothing of that occurred. We don't know when she punched in because she never did. My opinion. So cameras should have recorded everything. Everything. Now, Tuesday, the 14th. We all know that they talked Monday night or Tuesday night the very last time. And this is when Mrs. Rusek called in police telling the officers about Shannan's watch she bought for her. That's why I said, okay, I'm going to check the Tuesday as well. Where was everyone? NA, where was she? When they mysteriously found the watch under the cushions where the phone was, she was at work. But I was told the Live 360 does not register other than with Apple devices or geotab when you stop. So when you stop somewhere and leaving your engine running, it would not show up as a stop. That's why it never showed up as a stop when she dropped off Shannan. It's just a normal, like a line where she's going. She has events, not sure what events those are, but it doesn't show an actual stop. So we don't know. Hold on, I'm going to show you up here real quick. When did she drop her off? Here. 1:28 a.m. to 2:10. You know, this is when she dropped her off. And as you can see, there's a little thingy. This is where Shannan lives, but it doesn't show an actual stop because she left her engine running. Okay? So
That would actually be the same thing for her saying that she went to the doctor's office too. And was there.
Hold on, I can show you the doctor's office thing. That was here.
There's so many people say that she never stopped. She only drove by.
Well, she probably didn't because we don't see. She came from somewhere in this area and went back to the house.
Yeah.
But we don't really know.
No, the biggest thing is confidentiality. They can't say anything about a patient if they're there or not, or has been, or anything like that, no matter what, unless it's like police with a search warrant. That's the only time you get anything out of them. So I think that's just another one of NA's white lies. I'm muting again.
Okay. So NA was at work, evidently at work, but it doesn't say if she stopped on the way. We're talking here about the watch, right? Who put the watch in the couch cushions? Nick didn't find the watch, and when my two favorite guys, James and Bakes, showed up, they didn't find it either, and they did not leave one stone unturned. They didn't. They looked everywhere. They opened everything up. They looked everywhere, these two guys, and they didn't find the watch either. So where was Mrs. in the morning? So at 6:50, oh, she's at the offices. 6:50 a.m., 2 a.m., 2:07 a.m., the last 11-minute phone call they ever had. And then at 6:50 a.m., she's in Platteville. What did she do between 2:07 a.m. and 6:50? Obviously driving past. Because we see her driving past when behind the house when they had the dog search, right? So why not just drive by the Watts house in the morning? The house was under surveillance. At least it states in the discovery that one officer was placed there in front of the house to watch the house overnight because Chris wasn't there. But the discovery never states that someone was watching in the back. So we don't know if she came in through whatnot, basement door, window, or wherever she came through. But it is possible. Not saying she did place stuff, but there's, according to both of their whereabouts, could have been them. TM, there is nothing known whatsoever where he was in the morning. We don't have his locations or anything, but we do know that at 2 p.m. he receives a call from the cop while he was at 3319 looking for his lost wrench. Now, the
There's
purse.
a super sticker for you.
What?
A super sticker from KH.
KH, my darling, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I put that in. It was all me because we're talking about the purse and the phone. And this is what I mean with contradicting statements. This is an A statement regarding the purse. Oh, I forgot something. We got to go back. So we're talking about the watch real quick. And I'm going to actually show you real quick a little video. And I just show you the start of that video. When, here it says, just to start, when Sergeant Bakes and Officer James, or Sergeant James and Officer Bakes, I don't know, I just love them too, because they really went thoroughly through the house. I'm gonna show you real quick. Stop that screen and share another one. And listen carefully. It's not long, it's a few seconds, but what Coonrod says, or whoever that was, when they arrive upstairs, he's telling them actually. Where's my, here. Now listen to this carefully.
Our phone was on this couch, turned off. On this couch? On this couch, turned off.
Did you guys hear that? He tells them, Bakes and James, the phone was on this couch turned off. And them two going through the cushions, they're going through everything. They're going through the bedrooms, they're going through the kids' rooms. He even checks, Officer James even checks the coolers downstairs, the backpack, everything. So he tells them the phone was found right there. Listen again.
On this couch, turned off. On this couch? On this couch, turned off.
This is just something little I wanted to show you. So don't you think that James and Bakes would have found the watch if it was in between the cushions? So who placed it there, right? Makes no sense to me at all. Okay, let's go back to that. Oops, sorry. So we're talking about the purse real quick. So NA's statement regarding the purse, and this is her interview again. Because her purse, question, what? So answer is always NA and question is the interviewer. Answer, well, none of we found her purse. So then after we saw the videos, we go back in the house and I found her purse right inside the door of her office. And I had went in her office several times. It was like tucked right there by the door. I just walked past it. Question, was it behind the door? Answer, no. It was like right next to the door. Like door was open and then on the opposite side, it was sitting right inside the door. Question, okay. So did it appear like somebody was trying to hide it or it just kinda? When Coonrod walks in first time in the office, there was no purse next to the door. It wasn't. And her statement is, so they were watching the videos at Nate's, and then she came back and immediately found that purse at the door or behind the door or on the door. She doesn't really give a good statement. So this is her and her family being at Nate's. I cannot play this video because I get flagged by freaking, what's their name? That company that claims to have copyright on every public domain. Anyways, Lasso, there you go. So she was at Nate's watching the footage. Then Chris left Nate's and she stayed behind with her son. And they were talking to Nate, blah, 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 and Sandra on the phone and stuff, right? So she came back to the house and she didn't even look for the purse because she was right there at the stairs. So they all come back, including Nate, talking but you guys can go check out the body cam footage anyway for yourself and then you see it. They come back out of Nate's. They stand in front of the garage for several minutes waiting for Baumhofer to arrive. And then it shifts, like Baumhofer arrives, they all go in. Baumhofer goes up the stairs, Coonrod behind him, followed by and CW is already up there. So, and they're looking through Shannan's phone. Then you see NA coming towards the staircase from the kitchen area on the video. Then Coonrod goes down with his body cam and you can capture the kitchen island. Sorry, you guys. There's no purse there. Then all of a sudden, Nick appears and I couldn't make it any lighter, but he has something in his hands, something bigger, something he's carrying. Right? He walks towards the cupboard over there, the pantry, walks back. They all come down the stairs, Sandra on the phone with Coonrod, and then the purse appears. So, when exactly did she find the purse? She says, according to her statement, after they watched the video. But he has something in his arms or in his hands carrying. And all of a sudden, the purse appears. Now, let's look at Chris's statement on who found the purse. Question, okay? Answer. That could have helped her. Question. Okay. So we talked about her decompressing a few times. Where would she do that? Answer. She would have to go to a friend's house to do that. She wouldn't just go anywhere, not with the kids. Question. A hotel? Hold on, I need a drink. Water, of course. A hotel? Answer. I've checked and if she had any cash on her. I'm not sure, how much she would have had on her. She really doesn't carry much cash. I've checked, he said. Question. Okay. Answer. And the cash she had in her wallet was from Nicole the previous day. Question. From who? Answer. From Nicole. Question. Okay. Answer. She told me that was the cash she gave her. Question. Okay. Isn't that odd? Isn't that odd, you guys? So he checked the purse when Shannan was already gone. So how does he know that Nicole gave Shannan some cash? Let's read it again. I've checked and if she had any cash on her, I'm not sure, how much she would have had on her. She really doesn't carry much cash. And the cash she had in her wallet was from Nicole the previous day. From who? From Nicole. Oh, okay. She told me that was the cash she gave her. So when exactly did he check the purse? Now let's read further. So I went and found her purse. And that's Chris's interview. He says, so I went and found her purse. Question, for what? Answer, it was, I'm not sure. She didn't tell me. Question, okay. Answer, but that was all the cash she had in her wallet. Question, and is that still at the house you said? Answer, yeah. Question, okay, so is her license in the wallet? Answer, yeah. Question, so she's got no cash that we know of, no license, no phone. Anything about the clothes in her closet, the hamper, the drawers, that makes you think she packed some boots she's going to the mountains? Answer, like she has so many clothes in that closet, I'd be hard to really sell that should be saying C, if she took a little amount. Question, okay. So we have two contradicting statements. First, NA, I found the purse next to the office door, but I never even showed up in the office, kind of thing, right? Next thing, he found her purse, Chris, and checked her wallet even, and knew that NA gave her some money the previous day, and that was what Shannan had in her purse on cash.
I
Isn't
might
that
say there is no contradiction. They are both lying.
Of course they're both lying, but it seems like they both know something of each other. You know? I mean, her calling him, Sandra calling him, the call to school, then her agreeing to come down to the Frederick Police Department, then a few minutes at the same time they call Chris telling him to come down. Few minutes later she calls in angry saying, "No, I'm not coming."
Of
This
course,
is so
of course, we know the bigger picture, but please go on.
what?
We know the bigger picture, but please go on with the presentation.
So then somebody asked when she said check the knives, and some people said that Sandra never said that, check the knives, and we were having a hard time finding that, but now I have it. It's in her interview. So she's saying, where is it? Here. Maybe Cece wouldn't pick that shoes, blah, 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 blah. So those were out, neighbor's house, blah, 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 blah. So I don't know. So those were out, and then we went over to the neighbor's house because he said the cop had asked questions. I couldn't tell you, like at that point. I wasn't really paying attention. I was trying to look for things that her mom was asking me to look for. On the phone, obviously, look for this, look for that, do this, do that, do this, do that. She asked me to check the knives. I'm like, no, all the knives are here on the counter, like the butcher block or whatever. She asked me to go down in the basement to look just to make sure. I went downstairs. Stuff like, she was like telling, cause she lived there. She's like, did you check her shoe closet? And you guys know what's in her shoe closet? Do you realize where the shoe closet is? But we're getting to that. She has this amazing shoe closet in her office that her dad built her. Sorry, but I was like, blah, 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 blah. Why would her mom ask if she checked her shoe closet? I can only think of one explanation. The shoe closet was in the office. Does that make sense to you guys? Exactly, her office.
To me, it does.
What?
To me, it does.
Mm-hmm. Then, the phone. That's Coonrod's statement. When Nicole asked where Shannan's phone was, Christopher went to the couch upstairs and found it between the cushions. He did not know what the password was to Shannan's phone. Nicole knew it, possible date of birth of their unborn son, and turned it on. That's not true. That's so not true. Christopher gave consent to look at her phone. No calls were made that morning. I contacted Detective Baumhofer and requested him to come to the residence. So Coonrod states, and he he didn't know anything about them finding the phone because he was walking upstairs at that time. So why he's making that statement is beyond me. That's an A statement.
See, that was Casey that knew the password, not Nicole.
Say that again, please. I was
That was
coughing.
Casey that knew the password, not Nicole.
Mm-hmm. She had her on the phone.
Yeah.
And then he punched it in because she's saying, try the baby's due date. So she's saying all of the bedding was, and I don't know if all of the bedding, but the bedding was all over in the corners of the room. And I didn't touch it. I didn't go through it. I don't know, like, if sheets were missing or anything like that, but all of the bedding was stripped off the bed, which I thought was weird. And then the police officer had asked if she had her phone on her, and we didn't know at that point. And then, like 5 minutes later, my son was like rummaging through the pillows on the sofa. No, he didn't, because the pillows were nice and neat. And he found her phone shoved down in the cushions on the sofa. That's her statement.
Right.
Nick's statement, her son's. Once inside, they all went upstairs where he, Nick, felt like something wasn't right and began moving the pillows located on the couch at the top of the stairs. It was then he found Shannan's phone under the pillows. I asked Nick what drove him to the couch. He said the couch would be the place he would hide something. Nick said he was going to look under the couch, under the beds, and in Bella's and Cece's rooms, but the couch was the closest thing to him. I asked Nick to draw the couch and the location of Shannan's phone in relation to the couch. Nick explained what he was drawing as he drew and dissected Shannan's cell phone near the open end of the couch under a pillow. When asked, Nick said he located the phone under 3 or 4 pillows and that it was face up. So if he rampaged through those couch cushions, he should have been able to find the watch if it was there, but it obviously wasn't. Then he's drawing a nice sketch. That's I turned it around, so this image here is actually upside down in the discovery. Cece's room, Bella's room, that's the couch they have upstairs on the upstairs landing, the table, and this is where he found the couch, the phone. And he signed for this. Now, Chris's statement. Answer, I would think, question, okay? Answer, and then Nick finds her phone on the couch, question. And why did he find her phone on the couch? What's he looking for there? Answer, I don't know. He was looking. Question 4. Answer, clues? Clues, just, okay. Was looking around too, and he's happened just like to run across it right there on the couch and, okay, right on the cushion. So he found that it's not as though you're calling him to find it, he just found it. There are 2 things that's odd to me. First of all, they both say they basically rampaged through those cushions, and then under 3 and 4 pillows, they found her phone. Chris says it was just sitting there. That's also contradicting, because when you look at the body cam footage, the couch does not look like somebody went through 3 or 4 pillows. It was nice and neat. So I tend to believe Chris when he states it was just sitting there right on the cushion. Anyways, another thing that was odd to me is he slips up. He says, so he found it's not as though you're calling him to find it. He just found it. With what we heard and what we found out today, it's like they how do I even explain it? It's like they were talking to each other, almost as if, Chris telling him, you go and find the phone. Because why would he say that? What was in his head at that time making him answer like this? It's not as though you're calling him to find it. I think that's a big slip up. What do you guys think, Dave and Dawn?
I'll let Don go first.
Thank you. I don't think that there was any kind of relation between them in terms of interacting. Chris didn't want neither Annie nor Nicholas in his house, but it would have been odd to tell them to F off from his house. So I don't find anything wrong with that.
I do. I find a lot wrong with that. Because why would he say that? There's a lot of slip ups he does in his interview. And this just seemed odd to me. It just seems odd to me that he would say that. It's not like you're calling him and he finds it. He just found it on the right there on the cushion.
But that
And
was from the interrogator.
well, yeah, but you see Coonrod coming up and they both like at the same time saying, "We found her phone." And Coonrod goes, "Oh shit." So they both were together upstairs for a few minutes without any.
We know that Chris was a pleaser and he picked up everything from the interrogators and agreed if it was something good for him.
And young Nick and Chris were all upstairs and suddenly they find the phone. Exactly.
Yeah, under 3 minutes of being in the house.
Yeah, I think it was 1 minute and 50 seconds or something. You guys can check that on the body cam.
You know, the
Yeah.
scary thing of it is, if, like, my opinion about NA being in that house between 8 and 8:30, and then taking the cell phone and taking the purse, it's like whatever that they had planned, if they were going to plan on taking the purse, the cell phone, and it's like when Chris came home, I'm positive that he reached in and picked the Shannan's wedding ring out of the car. Because to me, it would have been them loading up the car and driving it out as if it was Shannan driving out of the garage. But because they took the purse and took the phone, the plan, everything stopped. But again, that's just my opinion. So
Right. Yeah, and A said she found the purse in the office doorway and gave it. CW, blatant lie. Yeah, I think so too.
if you
Why
look at
would
the body cam footage, though, Kumrat actually opens up that and looks behind the door. So if it was on the floor, he would have saw it.
I think what she meant is the door when you walk in. But I could be wrong. They don't say, you know, the closet door. But what's odd to me then is, why is Sandra asking, did you check her shoe closet? What is in that freaking shoe closet? But we're getting there. Right in the shoe closet. So we take a little look at the ransacked office. So maybe it makes a little bit more sense on why certain people want NA to go through her shoe closet or office, or shoe closet / office. This is when Coonrod first, I'm sorry that this image is so very dark. I didn't have time to make it a little bit lighter, but this is when Coonrod first walks into her office. The closet door is shut. You see pretty good what's on her desk and all that stuff. So then you go further. This is what Coonrod sees when he's opening her shoe closet. It's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Then you see, that's also from Coonrod body cam, you see the white trash bags with the toys and all that stuff in. You see right here, white trash bags. Here again, white trash bags, and it's an absolute mess. So this is Shannan's shoe closet, in case you didn't know. So then my friends Bakes and James arrive, and they go through everything at 4:37 p.m. It looks a little bit different. Things were kind of moved, especially her medication. But this is probably due to them taking pictures of the documents, taking pictures of the medication she had on her desk. Same here. They take pictures. I don't know why I have these stripes in my pictures all of a sudden. Anyways, so swimming gear, probably from their trip to North Carolina. And as you can see here, they even lift the pillows. So them two guys, they really deserve a medal because they looked everywhere. See how nice and neat all of a sudden her desk is compared to, where was it? Here. Even though the picture is a little bit dark, but you can see definitely here's laying things around. And that's gone here. Right? So this was the evening off for something 4:37. So they went through all that stuff, and there's definitely stuff missing in that corner. So we go along. This is one of the images, the crime scene images they took of her desk. You see all the medications, you see all the paperwork, and you can see that somebody was sitting there because you have a lot of like little receipts and a lot of unfolded or folded credit card statements. So somebody was looking for something, right? Probably, maybe even Shannan did. We don't know. That was Tuesday when the K9 unit came in. So nothing changed, except there is a white, something white, some paperwork right at the corner. That wasn't there when Coonrod came in. Medication, everything is there just as usual. This is what she sees when the dog comes in, you know, when they had this doll making creepy giggle sounds, and she thought that's a ghost. You can see Shannan's shoe closet. So what was in that shoe closet that was of interest for Sandra? I'm just blatantly asking. What was of interest? Why checking the shoe closet? Was there somebody in there and Catherine C was right all along? Or did they look for documents? Because that's what I believe. I believe they were looking, or she was urging her to look for documents. Nobody in their right mind would say, check her shoe closet. Why? Makes no sense. If she had said, you know, call everyone around you, drive to Jeremy, drive to do this, do that. Yeah, but check her shoe closet? Why? Makes zero sense to me. Zero. And then you can see what they found. So definitely somebody went through that office. We just don't know when. This appears different than it appears when, hold on, where was it? Here, Coonrod walks in. It's a different setting. It's more over there, and you can see it on the body cam when Jane and the dog came in. It's different. So there's definitely somebody went through her shoe closet. Then let's get to the documents they found. Credit card statements. May 2018. Credit card statement. May 2018. Then she is having another credit card statement, May 2018. Then she's ordering some stuff in July 27th. That came July 27th. Essential oils and crap for $66. You know, I wouldn't, I don't go there. Anyways, another credit card statement. What's the date on here? Oh, May. Who have thought it's May? Another credit card statement. What's the date? May. So Dave told me something. Dave G, if you just want to tell the audience what you found.
Well, it's kind of weird because this is 2 years ago found this. Credit card statements that were on the desk and all neatly in order. They were actually from Frank Rusek. And they
I'm going to
almost
show that too.
$10,000.
So all the credit card statements, basically, and I'm going to switch to here. I blurred out or I redacted the address, obviously, but as you can see here, this is her dad's credit card statement.
So again, my opinion, I think maybe that's where that 10K went to.
Right. And you can clearly see that she's calculating. She's calculating something on all these statements. As you can see, where was it? Here. You know, she's making little notes, numbers and stuff. So she was calculating something, including her dad's statement. And Dave calculated everything together and it sums up to about 10 grand. So I know people hate when I say so, but I can't get it out of me. I'm sorry. Now let's see what happened in April and May, because all those credit card statements go April through May, right? And they get billed in May. So in May, they have their pregnancy announcement. Obviously, concerns about all the money because of the documents on the desk. And as I showed you, she calculated and put numbers together. They were 3 months behind with payments for their mortgage. No HOA fees paid for 6 months. And Chris stated that she sent that to the wrong address. I don't believe that one bit. Then they took out 10 grand of Chris's 401k to pay the mortgage. Well, this is at least what she told him. So Ronnie told me he asked him, and by the way, the family, you know, his mom and dad, they never knew that they were in money trouble. They never knew that they were bankrupt. They never knew that they filed bankruptcy or anything like that. They never knew that they were behind with their mortgage. Nothing like that they knew. They learned everything after the fact. So, you know, the family was not aware of their financial situation at all. Chris did not tell them anything. The Ruseks, on the other hand, they knew everything because, I mean, it could be, it's just spinning in my head, but when the Ruseks went over to live with Shannan and Chris for 18 months in 2015, they went over there not like they stated to watch Bella because Shannan, to help Shannan with Bella because of Cece. Shannan wasn't even pregnant by then, right? That's number one. Number two, Shannan posted that her parents want to sell their house, and she posted the realtor ad on her Facebook saying, "Is anyone interested? My parents want to sell their house." Now, after that, the Ruseks went bankrupt first. See where I'm going with this? And then a few months later, they also filed bankruptcy, Shannan and Chris. Then in 2018, they were drowning in debt again. So all of this wasn't paid. And this sums up, as Dave G says, to around 10 grand without the mortgage. Only the credit card statements. So they taken out 10 grand out of Chris's 401k. Chris thinking she is paying the mortgage with this money, and learned after the murders that the money never even hit the mortgage account. He learned that after the fact. He wasn't aware that they were still 3 months behind with their mortgage, because she told him she's gonna pay the mortgage with the 10 grand. But what she did in reality was she took the 10 grand and went to North Carolina for 6 weeks. At the end of the day, we don't know if she paid off her credit card, what she owed on her credit cards, right?
Or if she paid it to Frank to pay off his credit cards.
Mm-hmm.
Let's not forget something else. Let's not forget that Shannan told everyone that her network marketing business was flourishing and she was swimming in money. So why taking 10K from her husband?
Why was she taking the 10K?
She shouldn't take money because, as she told everyone, her business marketing, network marketing business was flourishing. No, she got a check, she got a prize, she got a medal, a car, and so on. So where is that money that I don't see it happening?
Well, it definitely did not go towards the mortgage. That's for sure. And another thing I can tell you, but that's just my feeling. That's not a fact, and I don't know. My feeling is that she didn't have the 10 grand anymore when she went to North Carolina or shortly thereafter. And you know why I think that? Because she was snippy and snapped at Chris when he spent like 150 or something on a parking ticket. If I had 10 grand in my pocket, with all due respect, I would give a shit about $150 bill.
That's why I think she gave it to her dad.
I think something went on in there.
Well, what
Check your
gets
shoe
me,
closet.
if you'd go and, okay, how do you be nice to say this? With Sandy, we'll go back to when Sandy found out that everybody was dead, and she told Laura or talked to Lauren Arnold. It was really weird to me that at that time Sandy was going by her maiden name.
Yep.
And she never told Frank and Frankie that everybody was dead, that they found out on the news on TV. And yet Frank, no, it was Frankie. In his interview, he said that he was watching TV, his dad was in the garden, and his mom was in the kitchen. But to me, I don't think Sandy was even there. I think that, like, my opinion, I think she was living somewhere else at the time, because she didn't take back the Rusek name until just about the time of the insurance payout. And she's been a Rusek ever since.
Mm-hmm.
That goes in part with the big fight that they had in Colorado where they left during the night. So, and then you have these people, they're like the bankruptcy and everything else that's mirroring everything that Shannan and Chris did.
Right.
So I don't know. That's my opinion. That's just something that's been
Yeah,
stuck in the
she's
back of my
telling
mind.
she's telling Lauren Arnold, he confessed to knowing where they were, but on the news you're going to hear a different story. Yeah? So, and Frankie and Frank are at home crying their eyes out. And she knew beforehand. So somebody told her before they even knew.
Mm-hmm.
That's additional to that crap.
Yeah, that's why I don't think that they were in the same house. Otherwise, why wouldn't she have told them?
Right. I don't know what, and honestly, I don't even care what went on with them and their relationship. I just want to know where the 10 grand were.
I'm gonna mute
See?
again, but that's the only thing I could think is she gave it to her dad.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Or her mom. Who knows? It's just like a net, like I don't want to sound like a CW fangirl or anything, but they used this guy. Like he was working his ass off. And they kept spending. And that's the truth.
Well, it's the same with his job. She made him quit Ford to take an oil field worker job that, what was it? Was it $30,000 or $50,000 pay cut to start off with? And like with Ford, they said that within the following year, he should have been making up there like close to $120,000 a year, and then pretty well double it for the following year, just because he was a master mechanic.
Yeah.
You know? And there was no way in the world that he was going to make that at Anadarko at all.
Right. With them, it was every time it was all about money, and it still is. It still is. You know, I mean, I don't care what GoFundMe's and whatnot if people want to pay, please go ahead, knock yourself out. But as you know, when you go back in the history a little bit, it was all about money all the time. And I do understand that Chris didn't. I think he was ashamed to tell his parents. You know, Ronnie told me he never had a problem with money ever. They never owed any money to anyone, and he was always good with money.
Yeah, that's like before they got married. He had bought a brand new Mustang. It was almost paid off, and he had all that money in the bank.
Yeah.
And as soon as he moved in with Shannan, he went and gave her all the money because she is behind in all her bills.
Yeah. And
You know,
people are
so
saying she used it probably for Thrive. I don't think she used it for Thrive.
no, it wouldn't have been. No.
So I don't know about you guys, but I can see a pattern here. You know, check the shoe closet, look for whatever, and all this crap. And, you know, the statements of her dad and her statements, and she was in the shits. Definitely was in the shits. So after they took out the 10 grand, she plans her trip to North Carolina for 6 weeks. We have a saying in Germany, if the water, how do I explain it? If the water is up to your throat, yeah, you better swim or something along those lines. It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to North Carolina having double the costs when I have no money at all. Double the costs. I'm not going for 6 weeks. Why would she go for 6 weeks anyway? She never did that. Ever. And around that time, NK starts working for Anadarko. And I wanted to show you guys another thing that another bill came through. And Dave G said to me something that I never realized. But let's look at this. So this was a crime scene photograph taken by James or Bakes. And that was flipped around in the digital discovery. So I just flipped it around so you can see it better. Here, another medical bill coming in, addressed to Chris Watts. And Dave G said, "Did you see that?" And I was like, "What?" And he says, "She has statements, bills, some in the name of Shannan Watts and some still in the name of King."
And Rusek, she had Rusek too at credit cards.
If you just want to say something about this for a second, I gotta go somewhere real quick.
I know where you're going, but no, this bill here, it's actually a supermarket. I was looking into it. That's what this one here is all about. But no, it's under Shannan King, but she had Shannan Rusek and she had Shannan Watt. She had credit cards underneath all of them. So I don't know. I don't know how they could get so much credit when they went bankrupt. It just kind of ironic. They're just doing minimum payments on everything that they did have. So, but I don't know. If one person could tell the truth in this whole thing, it'd probably be a different story, but it's not going to happen. So,
The truth is that Chris had a real job and he earned real money. And Shannan, I doubt it.
if she was selling real estate, she would have done really, really well. But with all these MLMs that she had going on, she had to buy so much product in order to get her bonuses. And that was the biggest problem because I can't remember. It was either 4 or 5 different MLMs that I know of that she was in, and to hit the bonuses on all of them, you got to be spending a lot of money. And there's a lot of money that Chris didn't have. And it's like her nursing job when she was in North Carolina, that was a scam. That's all that was, is because she signed up for nursing school and knowing that she was selling her house and moving to Colorado, it's like she only did that so she could get the student loans. And then she used our student loans in order to move to Colorado with. And then they declared bankruptcy underneath that stuff. So to me, that was just a scam. Same thing when they built their fence. All that money, it was on a Home Depot card. And that went into the bankruptcy too. So everything was planned out through the bankruptcy on what they were going to actually spend their money on. And, but no, if Chris would have stayed where he was, and like Shannan, even when she was there selling cars, she was top salesperson, so everybody was making money until this Thrive came along, and then it just spiraled out of, straight down the tubes. So she devoted all her time to that, because when she had her job there at the hospital, that was in the call center, 95% of her time she was at home because she was in her office. She said in the dark that she could work from home. So 5% of the time she was inside the actual hospital in the call center otherwise.
For people in chat, I hope they see that little by little we are building a conclusion. I have a very short presentation after Tanya will finish hers. I think it is very meaningful. So,
just one thing for sure, though, I'm not bashing anybody or anything like that. It's just I'm coming up with my opinion to what the evidence is there, what they shared with us. So if they're hiding stuff that I don't know that make them look a lot better, I wish they would show it.
It is not our problem if people don't want to tell the truth. They want to be suspects, and we are treating them exactly like they behave.
Right.
Colette, it wasn't that she was scamming in her dad's name, because that was actually her parents' address.
Yeah. So you got to
that-
remember, her parents lived there for 18 months too. So, but them
Right.
bills that were on the desk were current bills.
But on that January statement I showed, that was actually their home address.
Yeah.
That's the one I blacked out. Yeah, I mean, don't judge, every one of us can get into a horrible situation with money.
Mm-hmm. Well, with that too, with his bills being there, a lot of people too. Frank actually was there, and he flew home with Shannan and the girls. So that's how the credit cards probably got there. The statements from when he
Yeah.
went there.
Probably. But honestly, I mean, yeah, everybody makes mistakes, but are you gonna live like that for forever, being dumb, and not learning anything from the past? They already were bankrupt. And I mean, she wasn't good with money, let's face it, right? But on the other hand, if I know that everything, grows over my head, I'm just starting saving. I'm just starting, the girls don't need a 2 grand Primrose school a month. So they're saving right there. I don't maybe need that big ass house, so I sell it on and get something more smaller. And they did that, and they were talking to the realtor about that. But I don't think that this was finalized. I don't think that, I think that Shannan, and that's not a fact, that's just my opinion. When Chris told her, I want to move in a smaller house and just stuff like that, she agreed because she was in a situation where she had to agree, otherwise she would have lost him. So she did everything to please him in that moment of time. I think she would not have agreed to move house, to not represent the all-American dream and the big ass house and nice schools and nice cars and all that crap, when they weren't in the situation they were in, because she knew that she was probably going to lose him.
That's another reason I think that
she had no choice.
She was having a baby boy, is to keep him. And one thing with that too, I honestly think she was losing Nico when she was in North Carolina. That's why she was so sick. And if she did, that's why she didn't want to go to a doctor, because once she lost Nico, there'd be no reason for Chris to stay.
Exactly.
Did you know that Chris had what the heck was it? A Ford? What was it? An Expedition. He had that through Thrive. He had it through Thrive. And that was part of his car allowance. And it ended up getting repossessed because he wasn't making the payments on it.
Oh, there you go. And another payment came through. The 400, I wanted to say pounds, I'm not in England. The $400 they had to pay for their Lexus insurance.
Yeah.
That was another bill that came through on for the 17th, I believe.
Yeah, because that was around the time that they were going to go to the sand dunes, I think it was. That bill come up.
Exactly. She told him, or she sent him an insurance card, or she sent him a number to make a payment or something. It's in the discovery. Anyways, this package, that pink golden package you see here, that came from North Carolina, by the way. If you check the zip code, you see where it came from. Just saying. I have no clue what was in there. It was never explained in the discovery. I just noted that this came from North Carolina. Looks like a present of some sort. Anyways, now let's get... And before I do that, I want to say, not everyone agrees with my process of thinking, but I'm just going to show you what's odd for me, right? I'm not taking on anyone's opinion. I'm thinking my own thoughts, and I think this is weird, and we need to talk about this. About SR's incredible skills of foreseeing things. So, here you have it again, between 8 and 8:30. She calls the school, even though she doesn't even know anything about anything, to put it in NA's words, yet. Then she still doesn't know anything about anything, and she asks Watts, is Shannan okay? Then she calls him, and if you guys remember, she also had phone conversations with him without Shannan knowing. Remember that. Then Shannan, which friend's house she was going to. Christopher stated he went to a job site, oil well, past Hudson, Colorado, to check on it. Christopher stated he was there alone for a few hours. Christopher said he was an operator for Anadarko. Shannan's mother called during this time, and this is from Coonrod's report. And he's saying Shannan's mother called during this time meaning while he was at the house, and was adamant that Christopher had done something and that I needed to check the GPS on his truck. Christopher's truck has GPS on it. So she wanted to make sure they know this, to check. Then that was Tuesday. Speaking of the watch, at approximately 4:38 a.m., and this was after Chris was talking to NK. I was contacted directly at the police department by Shannan's mother. Rusek was upset and told me that she and her husband believed that her daughter and granddaughter's disappearance involved foul play, and that she honestly believes that her son-in-law was involved in the disappearance of her daughter and granddaughters. She stated that Christopher is acting weird and out of the ordinary. She said that Christopher is telling people he has to go to work, and that just doesn't seem right. She felt that he is going out to pour oil on the bodies to dispose of them somewhere. All right. Rusek said that she felt when Shannan had come home late from her trip and had been exhausted, and that she and Christopher had argued. But due to Shannan's lupus, she would not have been able to put up a fight. So what did he say in his statement? They had an argument, and she didn't fight back. Mrs. Rusek knew all this. To me, my personal opinion, and I'm allowed a personal opinion, I think that this, to me, sounds like tell them this, tell them that. We need something to talk about. You know, that makes sense. So, anyways, I'm going to tell you a little story after I read that. Rusek also told me that she had bought Shannan an Apple iWatch, and the ID was her plan number. She said she had purchased it under her T-Mobile plan, but that Shannan had transferred it to her own AT&T account. She identified the watch as being a 38mm silver A1 white in color. So yeah, this was just the little things that seems very odd to me. I mean, there are people, you know, they feel things, especially if it's in your own family. But I do not. Maybe some of you guys think different. I do not believe in stuff like that. So, I mean, not in stuff like that is the wrong wording, but I just don't believe in coincidences that much. So, yeah, if those questions were answered on why and how, I would be happy. Very, very happy. So, the little story. I cannot say any names, but somebody told me that when Nick arrived at the Watts house, that Chris was on the phone with somebody. And he hung up the phone and he said to Nick, "They're trying to set me up." And I was long. I didn't want to say that, but I think it's time I say that. And therefore, because of this statement from Chris, and he didn't say anything else, this is all he said. They're trying to set me up. I mean, if you believe him or not, doesn't really matter. Anyways, so Nick gave Chris 2 numbers of lawyers because of his statement. And in the interrogation room, when Ronnie comes in, he says something about phone calls to them. And Chris meant by saying that his dad, please call the 2 numbers, the lawyers. So we don't know who was on the phone. Nick obviously doesn't know who was on the phone. It's just a statement that somebody told me. I have no proof of this, that this ever occurred, but it would fit because I asked Ronnie, and Chris had 2 numbers of lawyers. So it would fit with the story that was previously told. Right? But that's just aside. I have no proof of this. I don't know if that's a fact. No clue. Anyways, now we're coming to the last part, but I think you guys could see like a little pattern on what is going on. I told you this is gonna be a little mix up of things I had come across or was thinking about. And let's get to Amanda. And Dave, I need you for that.
Uh-oh.
I think many people don't even know who she is.
Amanda Thayer. She was the one.
Not Thayer.
I'm sorry. I'm going the opposite direction.
Her name is Amanda McMahon.
Yes, McMahon.
McMahon.
McMahon, yeah. She actually worked for NA in her hair salon, which is kind of neat, I thought. They were friends too, but she's the one that come forward and said that she was having an affair with Chris, that they had met on a dating site and he liked to choke and all this other crap. It just seems kind of odd that here NA is friends with her. But if you go back and think about that again, here you have Sandy working in NA's hair salon also. So I don't know if the Sandy and Amanda ever met, but it just seems rather odd. If you're in TJ's Facebook group, I actually posted pictures of Amanda in there, what she looked like at the time and what she looks like now. There's 5 different Facebook names she goes under. So.
Oh yeah, is she?
Yeah.
You know, I'm never on Facebook. Sorry.
I know you're not. It's a lot of work.
So I'm gonna read her little interview anyway, but it's It's on video. You can just type in Amanda McMahon interview and it will come up on YouTube.
Yeah, I have it posted in your group too. So
Oh, there you go. So join my group. It's run by Dave G. I have no time. All right. The following information was documented at the time it was gathered. The date of this report is not indicative. I can't pronounce that word. Of when the investigations occurred. On the 9th of what? The 6th of September, I interviewed Amanda McMahon at the Greeley Police Department. The interview was conducted in one of GPD's interview rooms and was visually and audibly recorded. The purpose of this interview was to obtain information regarding an alleged affair Amanda had with Watts. Amanda said she met Watts on Tinder, a known dating app, around February or March 2018. And described it as fast and furious. You guys remember in March, Shannan had that talk with the divorce lawyer in that restaurant? So maybe there was some talk of separation earlier on and we don't know about anything. So fast and furious. And now she has numerous media articles written about her and believe they are crossing over with the other girl, presumably Kessinger. Amanda said people are taking random pictures of her while she's walking down the street. After some discussion about how the Tinder app works, I asked Amanda what Watts' profile name was. She could not recall but guessed it was Chris. Amanda said the pictures Watts used for his Tinder profile were of him and not someone else, which she describes as the usual experience. Amanda said the date with Watts was a one-time thing. I asked Amanda to walk me through the events surrounding the one-time date she had with Watts. She said they met in the Chick-fil-A parking lot located at 4555 Center Place Drive, Greeley, where she got a drink and shortly thereafter they both drove to her house. Amanda said they both drove separate vehicles to the Chick-fil-A and that Watts arrived in a navy blue or black pickup truck. Amanda said their meeting was just about sex and it's kinda funny now, quote unquote, because Watts is a quote unquote killer. Amanda explained she didn't suspect anything and no radars went off or anything, but that it was scary because Watts was in her home. I asked Amanda to provide me more details about when they first met at the Chick-fil-A. She said after she got a drink, they sat and talked for a while, and she recalled talking to him about working at Anadarko because her ex-husband tried to get a job with the company. Amanda said Watts told her he was separated from his baby's mama. And this is something Chris never talks like, so I don't believe that. And that she wouldn't let him see his kids, and that she could relate because her boys are in Vermont with her ex-husband. Amanda said that was the extent of the conversation, and they agreed to go to her house and have sex. I asked Amanda if they communicated through the Tinder app prior to meeting at the Chick-fil-A. She explained she had a different phone number and used a Text Now app to communicate with Watts. Text Now app, similar to the GroupMe app. Amanda said she's funny about who has her phone number, so she used the app to retain privacy. Amanda also said she and Watts text messaged each other about the meet because she no longer has the phone she used. She wasn't able to provide me the number Watts text messaged her from. When I asked what time she and Watts had met, Amanda initially couldn't recall, but after repeated questioning, she said it was approximately 7:45 p.m. She said the meet occurred right after she got off work and drove to Greeley from Fort Lupton, where she was employed. Fort Lupton? Uh-huh. Amanda explained after her divorce and losing her kids, she went batshit crazy and hooked up with people and wasn't able to calm down until 2 weeks ago. Amanda also explained she suffered a brain injury after falling on some ice and striking her head on the ground. Ultimately, she recovered after 5 days in ICU, but still suffers from memory loss. Uh-huh. I asked Amanda to tell me what happened after they left the Chick-fil-A. She said Watts followed her to her apartment located at blah blah blah. Upon arrival, they went inside her apartment and described things as really fast and aggressive. When I asked her to explain, she said Watts was very rough and described seeing Watts' face and tattoos. Amanda continued to talk about how she would pick out 90% of the guys she slept with, but remembered Watts due to his face, tattoos, his employment with Anadarko, and his name. Amanda said it was unreal that she knew someone that did that. I asked Amanda if Watts ever told her his surname. She said he didn't, but that she remembers his face. I asked her to tell me about his tattoos. She said she remembers tattoos on his back and arms. Amanda went to explain, and he does have tattoos on back and arms. Amanda went on to explain she's not a strong witness. I asked Amanda to describe what she meant about Watts being aggressive with her. Amanda said she was told not to say too much without an attorney present to prevent incriminating herself. I informed her I was interviewing her as a witness and not as a suspect. Regarding Watts' alleged rough behavior, Amanda said she was humiliated, it was weird, and that Watts attempted to stick it in her butt. Amanda said Watts also pulled her hair and put his arms around her neck. She described it as a, can't say that word on YouTube, fantasy. Amanda explained and demonstrated she had to push Watts off her at one point. Upon request, Amanda provided me her Colorado driver's license, which I photographed, and it's still in the discovery. You guys can check that out. Amanda said her DL showed her old address, but she provided me with her current address. I asked Amanda about her statement regarding people following her around and taking pictures of her. She showed me a photo on her cell phone that reportedly is being spread around Facebook. The photo is part of a radaronline.com article with a headline of Colorado killer dad's mistress makes chilling revelation. He tried to choke me. It's still online, so you guys check that out. The photo, what's on the left, an unidentifiable female on the right, whose face is intentionally blurred. I photographed Amanda's cell phone displaying the posting and photo. Amanda said she received numerous messages regarding the Facebook post, but no longer had the messages. She said the messages started after she posted in a sleuth chat group she met Watts on Tinder. Amanda said after making that post, she was being harassed and contacted by many people, including media reporters. Amanda said Nicole Utoft Atkinson was her manager at Supercuts in 2013 and was also Shannan's best friend. Amanda said she saw Nicole's Facebook post about Shannan missing. I asked Amanda if she was positive the guy she met on Tinder is Chris Watts. Amanda replied, "See, that's the million-dollar question." She also said she isn't confident enough to testify in court about the identity of Watts, but is 99% sure it was him. Amanda explained she's not able to point out in a crowd any of the other guys she's hooked up with, but is still sure it was Watts. Amanda blames the complexity of the case for her 1% doubt. The interview spanned approximately 29 minutes, nothing further. Dave Baumhofer. Now, she's telling the same stuff. No, let's go back a little. I personally interviewed Trent Bolt in 2018. And Trent Bolt told me things, and that was in, I believe, end of August, start of September. And I was on the phone with him for like 4 hours. He told me things nobody knew at this point. And I'm not saying he's lying. I'm not saying he's telling the truth. What I'm saying is it's odd to me, and that's again just my personal opinion, that they're all kind of connected. So we have an Amanda McMahon. She is friends or an ex-co-worker of NA. We have Shannan's mom, who is mixed into all of this because she was working together with NA. And maybe not knows Amanda. I don't know. Not saying she does. And then you have, on the other hand, Trent, who is cousins with Danielle. Danielle is a friend of NK. You see how all of that ties into each other? So my way of thinking was, and again here, it's just my personal thinking process. You don't have to be, have to have the same opinion as I do. But what if these two, Amanda and Trent, were set up of some sort to say all these things? What if
Actually,
somebody briefed them to say all these things? Because Amanda here in her interview, she repeatedly states, oh, yes, it was Watts, but I'm not a good witness in court, and somebody told me get a lawyer, blah, 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 to not incriminate yourself. This just doesn't sound right to me.
what
It
if you
sounds
take that
like
one
somebody...
step further?
What?
What if you take that one step further? You have Amanda, you have Trent, and you have NK. If all three of these people had relationships with Chris, and it's like somebody was sent each and every one of them to have an affair with Chris to more or less break him up with Shannan. Do you know where I'm going with that?
Hold on. You broke off here. My internet went down for a second.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You
Okay.
sounded like robotic to me.
If you have
Please repeat.
Amanda that said that she had an affair with Chris, you have Trent that said he had an affair with Chris, and then you did have NK that had an affair with Chris.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like each and every one of them was sent to Chris to more or less break him up with Shannan.
Exactly.
And if that's the case, who has the most to gain by that?
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Tanya, may I ask, do you find credible the statement of this Rosie Amanda?
No, absolutely not. That's why I said I think they were set up. They were set up to, I mean, at the time back then, and Trent is a really nice guy, you guys. He's a really polite, nice person. And I had incredible talks with him, and he's very intelligent. Just so you guys know, right? I don't know Amanda at all, but it seems to me that they were both... Amanda, I don't find credible. But after knowing what we know now, I think it seems like to me they were both set up to make Chris look like, oh, he definitely wanted to get rid of Shannan. You know what I mean? Or set up, as Dave G said, to exactly no, a distraction of some sort. Or as Dave G said, maybe, to separate them, to put a wedge between them, or to destroy their marriage or whatever.
Because honestly, I don't think what happened would have happened if Shannan was only gone a week. He had too much free roam over that 5 weeks with her gone.
Uh-huh.
You know, and even if it was like a one-nighter or whatever with Trent and with Amanda, or, you know, even if it wasn't, it was here, there, or whatever, it still
Right.
might have happened. And I honestly do think somebody had sent them to see if it'd break Chris up with her, because one of the biggest things is why all the calls to Chris from Sandy before he went to North Carolina. There was 12 phone calls in one day, you know, and she didn't let Shanann know that she was calling either,
Yeah.
you know. So to me, I don't know. And then she didn't want, like, when it was time for them to leave, Sandy didn't want Shanann to go either back to Colorado. She wanted her to leave the girls there. So
Right.
I don't know. That's just me. So,
Yeah, but you know, I mean, back then in 2018, I was like, oh my God. And then a few weeks later, I heard on the news, and you know, when the Discovery was released at the end of the year, I I heard all these things that I knew up front because I was talking to Trent.
mhm.
So I was thinking, oh my God, something's right here.
Mhm.
He didn't lie to me. And yeah, but I cannot talk about the story because there are he was kind of set up by a certain TV show, and there is like restraining
Yeah,
orders
it's a
in
gag
place,
order.
and that's why I cannot talk
Yeah.
any more about this. But yeah, you know, back
So,
then it felt like, oh my goodness gracious, you know, this is all true.
do you find the trends credible?
Um, I mean, I'm on
Do
the
you,
edge, to be honest. I mean,
do
with what I
you,
know
do you,
now, I don't know.
They could have
Um,
gave him a polygraph and they didn't.
he asked for a polygraph.
That's right.
He did ask for one.
Yeah.
And after the interview, I actually talked to him, and he said, "Well, they making fun of me. Like, what the heck is going on?" And he was very, very upset. But yeah, enough of talking about Trent. So it's just a connection between all of them, kind of.
Mhm.
And this is what I want to do, basically show you guys. All right,
okay,
I'm gonna stop blabbing now, and we're gonna
may,
listen to
may,
Dawn.
may I say my two lines?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna mute.
Uh, yeah,
I'm good
before,
too.
yeah, many things have been said in this live stream. I hope I will keep up with everything I wanted to comment on. I would start with the 360 application about that header at mom's work. I have a question. Do we know if the mother of NA is alive? And if yes, where is she working? Anyone knows?
Not a clue. I don't know anything about her mom at all. I've never
Because
seen her in a
Neither
picture.
I have no clue about this woman whatsoever. I
No.
know her interview. I was watching her interview, the videotape one, and that's about all I know.
Well, she had an older daughter that was
okay,
displaced, I guess you could call it. And well, since she's been making money, then she's back in the picture now. But I've never seen anything or heard anything about any parents.
yeah, I'm asking because if she has a living mother, she had a living mother in 2018, and she worked at the same hospital with NA, then there's nothing strange with uh, that location at mom's work. Maybe they work together at the same hospital. Okay, now, as you all have seen in this in the presentation of Tanya and Dave G's comments, there is a pattern. There are some conclusions we are forced to point to, and my very short presentation will do exactly that by calling the things by their name. That's why I titled my presentation "Call a Spade a Spade." I'm really sick and tired and jumping around information and not telling things as what they are. Some of you might remember that almost a year ago, in November last year, I uploaded a video titled "The Conspiracy to Murders," and it was like a mystery quiz. Suspect A, B, C, and so on. Well, let's turn the cards on. First of all, a definition. What means the suspect? Someone who is under suspicion. Everybody in this slide is a suspect except Chris, of course, he is already convicted. And I would start talking about NA because you have fresh information. We know from Chris that he didn't put the latch in that morning. That implies, as Deji said, that she was in the house. I will say it directly because I don't find any other reason why she would ask Bauhofer if she will be arrested, other than doing something illegal. What better reason to be afraid other than breaking into a house without permission from the owner? What other reason than stealing stuff? And I'm talking about the phone of Shannan, her purse, and some documents that might have been in Shannan's office, or maybe in the shoes dresser. It could be some hiding place in there. So I put her in the house without permission. I put also her son along her as a helper and as a planter. I've said it many times. Maybe right now you understand better. You almost saw him planting the purse of Shannan on that in the kitchen. So I'm asking myself, why did she go that morning so early at Watt's house? Or did she go by herself, by her own will? Or maybe somebody else told her to.
Don, your audio is very bad.
Okay, how is it now?
A little bit better, but it always sounds like you're underwater.
Trust me, I'm not. Only when I talked about.
Now it's good.
Yeah, when I talked about that girl with the SUV that drowned.
Kylie.
Yes. On that live stream, I was underwater. Okay. So I was asking myself, why did she go that early? Who put her? Did she go by herself, by her own will? I doubt it. because she didn't have any reason. She knew that Shannan will go to that clinic for a consultation. So who could have put her to go there? I put the responsibility on Sandra Rusek. So my question is now, why was so alarming? What happened in that morning that made Sandra Rusek to ask NA to go early in the morning in that house? Did she know something? If so, from who? Because now I'm relating to Sandra Rusek's talent to know the future and to have premonitions. I don't believe in something like that. Somebody told her what happened in that house. Could it be Nate? Or could it be McKay? So, you see, this is what we couldn't tell you for a long time. There is a network of relations between several actors of this tragic murder. Sandra Rusek had at least 3 informants, maybe more if we count some friends of Shannan.
Bad audio again.
Where did I start breaking? What was I saying?
Like 30 seconds ago.
Wow. So I was saying that Sandra Rusek had at least 3 informants. You see them in this slide, but they may be more if we count some of Shannan's friends. On the other hand, we know the relation between NK and Chris, between Troy McCoy and Chris. The most interesting part is the relation between Sandra and NK. The only information we have is that they had in common a lawyer. It could be something else too, but we don't know so far. Maybe somebody could come forward and tell us more. We know that this case involves 2 hairdressers, and in a hairdresser shop, many things are said, many people meet. There are a lot of gossips, but also a lot of information. So we don't know what happened exactly. Either way, I find it very odd that Sandra Rusek had some implication, and I find her behavior very suspect for a long time. And in this stream, we saw, you heard by yourself how many things are odd in her behavior, and I didn't count that she was the one that said that her daughter was her property, and everything that she did, including photos, should bring her money.
Right. She said, I believe that was to Dave. She said, my daughter, my property, or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Dave, do you remember how that went down with the same lawyers?
Who are you talking about? Sorry.
NK and Mrs. Rusek having the same lawyers?
Yes, I heard about that, but I don't know too much about it.
Oh, okay.
It just with the two, there's too many connections to put them. How would you put it? I honestly do think that they knew each other, and more than just a lawyer. So there was connections in North Carolina with NK living there with her mom at one time. But I can't think if they actually knew the Ruseks at that time. It just that it's rather odd how pretty well anybody that NK knew was associated with Chris as to trying to set him up to have an affair, you know. And NA was always the common denominator in all of it too.
It
But
is very. I find quite possible that Sandra Rusek planted NK in Chris Watts' bed. If we take into account what Tanya told us in the end of her presentation about Amanda and Trent, we see indeed a pattern. I'm not sure.
Sharon, we're talking about suspicious behavior and not who the killer actually was or is.
Yes, we see very clearly on my slide the word suspect.
Yeah.
Suspect is not.
I just don't want people to go around after this live stream saying Dawn said that Sandra killed her daughter or something
no,
like
not at all. Not at
that.
all.
You know, I don't want to hear that at all.
No, I'm not even thinking about that, but I wanted to show you the network. I see.
Right. Just to make that clear before.
Right. No, I wouldn't have said something like that on Tanya's channel. But we are not blind. I mean, we see all those things, and little by little, the conclusion jumps at us quite clearly. So,
well,
okay.
considering that if you go just look at Nicole Atkinson, she's friends with all these people that we can prove, all except for NK. Okay, so it's like here she is at a hair salon, and Sandy's working for her. You know, so and then all these other people are involved. It's all like a spider web with all these people that are tangled up in the web. So it's nothing to say that Sandy started any of it. It's just that there's a lot of suspicious activity going on, and
especially the network, like everyone seems to know everyone.
Yeah, and why in the heck would DA Rourke go spend 3 days at the Rusek's house? That makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. You know, what is it that they're what's going on there that he would need 3 days? And then all of a sudden he comes back, and then the girls' medical records are sealed. Like, what's up with that too? You know. Sorry.
Yes, I want to clarify something else. I'm not talking about this network trying to prove that CW is innocent. Far from me. He is in prison for good reason. He killed everybody. Let's hope he will die of natural death, although I doubt it. But anyway.
Cat, how do we know that? Is there any proof?
About what?
Missy Cat saying NK attended sober living in NC. I don't think there's any proof for her being there.
In North Carolina?
No. Yeah. When I check out her Venmo, she's getting payments and back and forth to sober living. but they have an address in Colorado, so not sure if there's actual proof that she went to the sober living branch in North Carolina.
Sober living, yeah, and she was drinking beer on beer and salmon, was it?
Beer and
So-
salmon.
Yeah, do you remember the lazy bucket on the bill?
Oh, the lazy dog. Oh, I don't believe.
Dog,
I
sorry.
believe that was a takeaway anyway.
Yeah, I know, but they were on there. It said that they were beer, but everybody said that Chris didn't drink.
Hmm.
But there was beer in the fridge in the basement.
Right. Right. Good observation.
Right. So my biggest question is, why did Mrs. Rusek ask NA to go to Watt's house? What did she know happened in that night, and from who? We know that she phoned the school. She was worried something happened to the kids, to the girls. Maybe, let's say, maybe Nate saw that on Sunday Chris came home alone without them. Maybe he heard something. Maybe he saw something in the morning. I don't know. Who knows if Nate was not awake and saw something in the back of the house? Somebody carrying a body? Who knows? But it is very strange that puts Sandra Rusek in our attention. Again, what did she know?
Penny, I can answer that question. The discovery states when they turned on that phone, there were no phone calls made that night from Shannan's phone. So no, she did not call her mom.
Yeah, that and Sandy never called Shannan either. Like if your daughter was going to wake you up in the middle of the night with some kind of premonition saying, sorry, mommy, and she knew right then and there her daughter was dead, why in the heck wouldn't she call her daughter instead of waking up the whole house as she says she did? That makes no sense. That, and I don't know if everybody knows, but all the airfares and everything that the Ruseks had when they went to Colorado was all paid for. And yet Sandy didn't go to Colorado until it was time to clean out the house. That was her first time there. And yet Ronnie, he went right away as soon as Chris called. So what's up with all that? That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If my daughter was missing, I'd be taking the first flight out or even driving all night just to get there. But yet she didn't. Even after she found out that everybody was dead, she still didn't go until it was time to clean out the house.
Right. Liz, they didn't FaceTime. Mr. Rusek FaceTimed the girls in the morning when they had cold pizza. The other call at around 5 o'clock in the afternoon was not a FaceTime call. That was an actual phone call. And Frank stated in his interview that he wanted to go back to check what time it was exactly, and that he saw that his wife deleted that phone call.
I would like to draw your attention to the arrows on this slide. I mean, the direction. Some of them are in both ways, some only one way. There is also an arrow between Sandra Rusek and Chris Watts. I will let you think by yourself. What does that mean? Right. Good Night Owl had a good observation about those 12 phone calls that explain somehow the arrow between her and Chris. I hope you will understand how to fill in the blanks. And let's not remember why we're here. We are not for details. We are here because there are people still free that should not be free, should be in jail. You're very close, Rebecca. You see, Tanya, you have very clever subscribers.
Oh my God, I was talking and talking and talking and reading Rebecca's comment, and then I saw that I was muted. Sorry.
But
Yeah, but I can not get into that detail.
right. But
But you're close, Rebecca.
right. Should we go into the detail that Dave G mentioned briefly in this live stream about the reason the Ruseks suddenly left the
No.
Watts house?
No.
Okay.
It fits in, but it's just that it wouldn't be a cool thing to say at this moment. There is talk going on right now, so if it comes to light, then we can talk about it. But it's not our place to say anything.
And also, there's a time for, be patient.
Yes.
Right.
Everything will fall into place. It takes a long time, but I'm confident it will be.
It's like this 9 o'clock alert,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like the 9 o'clock wellness. It's stuff that's was overlooked.
Right.
Same thing with Amanda being friends with everybody. Same with like all of it. Trent Bolt, the works. Everything falls into place. It's just that it takes time to go over things, and the way they have the discovery all muddled up. Nothing is in place. They did it on purpose. So they're trying to string out their narrative of what happened instead of what actually did happen. And
Right.
if Troy McCoy and Nicole did get immunity, then all the discovery that we did get to see, there's nothing there really of the FBI because they don't share anything. And if they did talk to the FBI first, then all we're getting to see is something for the public to view, and that's it. Not actually what really happened. So
Yeah, and on top of that, the DA had his filtering role too.
that's right. Yeah.
Shine like a diamond. Law enforcement won't release CW's watch, phone, and home computers. That's BS because CW is doing live. Yes, I agree. I can't agree more. But me personally, I think it's been destroyed.
That is against any rule existing in law enforcement. You also in movies that there are lots of boxes in archives with stuff from every case.
Right.
I know, but this was part of his plea agreement.
But then Chris actually said he doesn't know what's all inside that plea agreement because, according to him, he didn't know that the girls' records were sealed. So because he asked to see what was in the records that they'd have sealed, and they wouldn't let him see. That's the same thing as the paternity and the DNA for Nico. They wouldn't let him see that either.
Tanya, you know from your own tragic experience that the police from the American police didn't release anything.
I was just looking. If you give me 1 second, I can show you guys an actual email, and I know from like firsthand how that works. But I have to redact names out. I found the email
Yeah.
in my case, and I'm gonna show you guys. Just give me a minute and talk amongst each other. I mute myself.
Oh, this
Yeah.
could be dangerous. She's going to leave us alone.
No, we'll behave. But I
What
think,
are your thoughts?
yeah, I think that Tanya will show us how police is saying that they keep every piece of evidence for later use if something new comes up. And that happens in every case, in every country. They are not destroyed. I mean, a plea deal cannot supersede the laws in the American criminal justice.
Right. Unless their case is muddled up so bad. It's like, what are your thoughts with the DNA being destroyed after 1 year and then all the data for it after 3 years? And the only thing I could actually come up with is when, okay, so with the immunity, with Troy McCoy and Nicole saying where the bodies were and everything, because they knew where the bodies were before Chris went into his polygraph. So they go out there without a search warrant. So anything they actually did pick up without the search warrant wouldn't be admissible in court. So therefore they can't use it. And that's in my opinion, is why everything got destroyed, because they couldn't use it. Same thing with going in the house and taking everything and putting it in plastic bags and mixing it up. Like, who does that? You know? So all that stuff, because there was so many people in the house, you couldn't use any of it in court again. So to me, that's probably why they only kept it for so long, but that's just me. But it makes more sense than them going and destroying everything. It's just, if they're taking something with, like, even the fingerprints out of the plastic bags without a search warrant, they can't use it in court.
Right.
But that's just me, my logical thinking. So I don't know.
No, I mean, everybody should think like that. Critical thinking is all we have.
Yes. But
I'm
that's
not.
the only thing that makes sense to me, is why they destroyed it, because they couldn't use it.
I don't think they even had the intention to use it.
No. Because if you go back to Dwayne Kessinger, he kept on saying, well, what if Chris pleads guilty to all of it? Will there be a trial? And that was the whole thing with the immunity, that as long as he pled guilty and took the plea agreement, there wouldn't be a trial. But if there was a trial, then them two would have been charged also.
Yes, in case of a trial, everybody would have been effed, because there is no immunity in the court of law. So
that's right. And that thing too with Chris, everybody said he does nothing but lie. Well, if he put a plea agreement saying that he wasn't supposed to discuss the case even with his parents, then that'd be a reason why he's not telling the truth about anything. Because his worst fear is coming back to Colorado, because they would kill him. Right now, you might as well say he's in Club Med, because nobody's going to hurt him there. The people that he's around are either pedophiles or else people that are going to be shortly be released. So he's in no danger whatsoever. He got a job in the kitchen slicing meat, sandwich meat, but they just lock him in a room by himself. So the only thing that could happen to him is to slip and fall on some soap in the shower, and that's about it.
You never know.
That's right. Unless he's using soap on a rope, then he might get tangled up. Other than that, no.
What do you think about Chris's behavior as an inmate that people think he might be innocent?
I can't see him being innocent. No matter what, he had the knowledge of it happening. So to me, he is where he belongs, even if he didn't kill anybody. To me, I honestly do think that the girls never got home from the birthday party, which
Right.
means that he would have had to have went out to 319. But I honestly think that he took NA's Forerunner out there because that's the only thing that fits, because the Lexus was too clean inside and out. There was no dust on the dash or nothing, so depending on if that's what Jim was for or if that's what NK did, I don't know,
No,
because you
he
got
had
her saying that she what the heck was it, she hit my effing girls, and then she wasn't supposed to be there, so we already know that she was there in the house. It just,
Right.
I don't know if she was there when the girls were taken out to 319.
Yes, that is an unknown, but that doesn't make Chris more innocent.
No, it doesn't, because he had the knowledge of, and he could have stopped it, and he didn't.
Yeah.
I'm back.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys and your
Did we
heated
get in trouble?
discussion.
We're gossiping.
I just needed a cigarette because, going back to these emails triggers a lot of memories for me. So, yeah, but I'm willing to show you the email. For everyone who does not know, half of my family does live in the United States, especially for those who say, oh, why is she doing American cases? She's not living here. Well, I have family all over the place. My dad was actually born in America. Anyways, my aunt and uncle were murdered in 2015. Thinking that was a kind of gang-related crime. Anyways, I don't want to get too much into details, but I flew over to America to get, obviously, my aunt's body for burial. And I asked the leading detective on the case if I can have my aunt's and uncle's property. He said at first he would ask and check back with the district attorney's office, but yeah, then he got back to me and basically sent me an email. I'm going to show you. I have redacted and blacked out.
Please tell us, what did you want? What objects did you want to have?
I wanted both their phones. I wanted my aunt's necklace. I wanted my uncle's bracelet. I wanted even, their wallet, just to keep it, just to have something, right? So, yeah, and I show you what he replied back to me. So, he was saying after I was asking for the stuff, well, like I said, first he said he would, and then he said he's got a check back. So he says, "Hi, Tanya. It was nice to hear from you. I'm glad for you and your family that things worked for," and that's the name of my cousins I had custody of because they were minor, "to come back home to you all." And I feel like I'm shaking. My blood is so please forgive me if I'm stuttering. Regarding the property, I have not had a chance to see what all is still in evidence at our building. Unfortunately, in most homicide cases, we have to keep the property that was collected as evidence forever. The most obvious reason for that is in case there are ever appeals to be made in court, or if other evidence becomes known that may lead to a new trial, I suppose. If something was taken and is not necessarily evidence, but just taken for safekeeping, we at times give that to family. However, if you had something specific you were thinking we had and the family wanted, I can check on it. I cannot make any promises that something would be able to be turned over to you or your family, but I did speak with my lieutenant, and he said we could at least check on it. So anyway, in the meantime, I will try to get a list of what was taken and see if there would be anything to be released. I'm sorry I don't have it for you already, but we have been extremely busy this year, and it just never stops around here. Again, I hope all is well with you and your family. Please say hello to blah blah and your mother for me. I hope to contact you again soon.
What about the money that have been found in the car?
That money was exchanged. Like, obviously, it was full of blood. And that money was exchanged in the bank and was given to my cousins. So, as you can see here, they keep that stuff forever.
Exactly.
And I can't find the email, but we're still in contact actually from time to time, especially on Christmas and in February when all this happened. And we actually talked on the phone, and he said to me that they cannot release anything.
Maybe he could share with you.
He said to me, when I come over, I can look at it, hold it, stuff like that I can do, but they won't send it to me. And I gotta stop sharing the screen because that triggers so many memories. Yeah. So on one hand, I do understand why they don't release that stuff, but it was part of Chris's plea agreement that they are, that he agrees to, that there might be evidence destroyed within a year.
For the people that are late, did you want to show them your new haircut?
No, I'm just having a smoke. I cannot just go on camera now.
I was trying to change the subject for you. I'm
My
sorry.
nerves are, my heart is beating, and yeah, it's horrible, and it's, people ask me, why don't you solve your family's case? I wish I could, but it's different. If you're the one involved, it's you're not looking at a case objectively enough.
That's right. Yeah.
Too many emotions involved. So, well, it is what it is. You can't turn back the time, but you can learn how to live with it.
Well, that was one of the things that Chris said too. Is why talk? Because it won't bring anybody back. So, and with them telling him it doesn't matter if it's 1 life sentence or 5, you're still not getting out. You're going to die in prison. So
Yeah.
what's there to look forward to if he does talk?
Mm.
For somebody who found God, put yourself the quotes, it is very lame. He doesn't want to talk.
That's right. Well, I don't think he really found God. It's just that he memorized a book that he read. Is the way I got it.
I was sarcastic.
Yeah, and this is basically how I got into the crime stuff when this happened. So I'm hungry. I want to get to the bottom of things.
You could ask that guy what is his opinion about the evidence being destroyed in this case.
Yeah, I actually could. I call him anyway. Like I said, around Christmas we're in contact every year, and in February. But yeah, that's actually a good idea. But then again, it's maybe it's from state to state different, right? So
Not really, no, because like even though I'm in Canada, the only time they'll destroy something is if it's not admissible in court. And if it's not admissible in court, usually because it's tainted. And face it, these guys went out to survey 319 with their little drone. They saw the blanket or the sheet, and they went out there because they thought something was underneath it or somebody was buried under it. So they moved it. So if they didn't have a search warrant, they can't use that.
Right.
Same with the hair they found on the thief hatch. Do you see in the pictures of the drone flying around? They had the thief hatch open. If they didn't have a search warrant for that, they can't use that either. The plastic bags with the fingerprints, they can't use it. You know, so even though, like, it sounds like one of survey men came around to see what everybody was doing there, and they gave him permission to be there, but that still doesn't give him any warrant whatsoever to go and get any evidence and actually hold it for court because it's not admissible.
Right. Well, I don't know. It's just too much weird stuff going on with this case. I know people are lying, and I don't understand why he's just not telling at least his mom and dad. I just don't understand. You know, when you use trigger words, he does actually give you an answer. Like when we said, you know, we have our own camera, and he said, "No, that was me." Like, if you don't remember anything and everything is so blurry to you, why would you say, no, it was me? Makes absolutely zero sense. Are you guys?
I actually can understand why he is not talking, because he has no dignity. He's a coward.
Yeah. I just hope he will one day, even if he doesn't tell us, you know, but I know partially, I do believe that he lost his memory, as I explained previously on my live streams. I do feel like that is some sort of trauma, even for, you know, somebody who unlives his family. But I don't believe that everything is a blur. I just don't believe it. And I think he knows enough, but he just does not say anything. And that's very unfortunate, especially for his parents. You know, I really wish he would just tell them so they can have peace already.
I don't think he would, because if he starts speaking, he might tell very gruesome things he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the kind of a guy too that he really respects what your opinion is of him. He doesn't like to being looked down upon, so I don't think he would ever tell.
Yeah.
He doesn't like to be considered a monster,
No.
but he does nothing.
Yeah. That's true. All right, you guys, 2:23 over here, AM. I think I need to hit my bed. And if there is, I hope you guys could take everything in we presented to you today. But yeah, it's still hard. I'm still listening to interviews. I'm still going. Last night I was a little bit distracted. There was Richard Allen in connection to the murder of Abby and Libby was arrested, and I was glued to Bray Hughes channel. I was glued to True, what's his name? Um, True Crime Rocket Science. He had an awesome live stream yesterday. Can somebody mute? Can you mute yourself? I hear myself talking, Dawn. It's through your mic. I think.
Let's try Dave G if he notices. If he
It's
notices.
Dave.
The echo started when he came in.
Is he even there? Dave, are you here?
Yeah, I was muted.
No, you wasn't.
He wasn't.
But can you mute yourself just for a second, because I have an echo? Thank you. Yeah, that's better. Well, where did I stop? yeah, it's all like a net of everything like that comes together, and just trying to make sense out of this mess. Like I said, I hope he one day will be telling at least his parents the truth and nothing but the truth. But yeah, up until then, we just have to be pushing him and just spread the word and awareness, I guess.
I would like to add something.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
for those that are thinking the evidence is lost, and I'm talking especially about DNA of baby Nicole or Shannan or the girls. There are still ways to get the DNA. So the truth will eventually surface.
Oh, yeah. That's another thing, you see. I don't understand why he's not, requesting the results. He seems to be not interested at all.
Probably he knows the truth.
Probably. Yeah, that's what I thought too. And he doesn't want anyone else to know. That could be a reason as well, in my opinion.
Not that it would be an excuse for what he did, but it is easier to understand why he did it.
Yeah. With the money and everything that just came down on a person, not sure. All right. You guys have a fantastic Sunday and Saturday night. I'm gonna go to bed. And with that being said, stay out of trouble, stay out of drama, stay true to yourself. And I see you next. Yeah, I already did schedule a live stream, and we're gonna go into the evidence, and I show you, in my opinion, how they or he got rid of everything and where they hid it. All right, so I hope I see you guys there. Love you. Bye bye.